Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Am I the a-hole for putting a tracker in my wife's car? Our first story comes from the IAmTheDevil subreddit, posted by Deleted. My wife and I have been together for 25 plus years, and she's always done the bingo thing with her mum. I have no problem with that, and they've been doing it for years and years. Maybe once or twice a month. Again, no problem. Her mum has always been a gambling addict, and it caused the divorce of her first husband. She wiped out her second husband's bank account within a couple of years. So I've always been a bit wary of the whole gambling thing. I've seen it destroy families. Her mum now lives with us. 15 years ago, I worked out of town a lot, so she's always had control of our joint bank account. My checks were auto-deposited, so I never really broke down our bills, as I should have. After I kept pressuring her to tell me where all our money was going, she broke down and told me that she gambled it all away at the casino. Slot machines. Big fight. At that point, I got a separate checking account, so at least the bills would be paid on time. I make a bit more than she does, but I pay most of the bills, and I'm still able to save up money every month. This has never been sustainable though, as I always pay any surprise bills. We have 2 teenagers, while she's broke every month. When we were going over our tax return, it turned out that she owed $6,000 in taxes, all from the casino. We went over the whole gambling financial problem again, and she shook my hand and promised that she would stop. Fast forward a few months, and I bought a tracker online, one that I could put on my tractor. I let my friends borrow it and want to keep track of it in case it gets stolen. I also plan to put it in the kids' car, as they're turning 16 soon, and I want to keep track of them. I had the tracker for a few weeks and then decided to try it out one day. I threw it on the console of my wife's car, just to see how the app works. Before I could tell her, she drove off with her mum and texted me saying they were heading out shopping. Well, they went straight to the casino instead. I wasn't mad, but I was definitely concerned. I felt guilty for spying on my wife, so I took it out and never said anything. However, curiosity got the best of me, and I threw it back in her car a few weeks later, this time on purpose and hidden. It's been a couple of months, and they've been at the casino at least twice a week. Not the bingo hall, but the actual casino. I confronted her again today when she asked for money for the kids' gymnastics. I asked her how her gambling problem was going, as she denied that she's been gambling. I gave her so many outs, and she wouldn't admit it. So then I told her about the tracker, and now she's furious that I tracked her and threw out the D word. The D word? Is that a thing? I'm super nervous. We've been together for 25 plus years, and I'm freaking out. Update, next day. Well, we had the fight. At first, it was mostly her on the attack for all the things I do wrong that pushes her to the casino. I expected this and was able to turn it back around and keep the focus on the gambling. Long story short, lots of crying and opening up. I told her that she was the one person in this world that I trust the most, and she's also the one person that lies to me the most. That was the breaking point, which kicked off a long, vulnerable discussion about where we are in our marriage and where it's going. It's been a long time since we've had one of those. She's agreed to open up her finances so we can figure out what to do there. I have no idea how much debt we're in yet, but it sounds like quite a bit. Hopefully, it's manageable. We're going to see a marriage counselor, and she's also agreed to go to a gambling addiction counselor. Mother-in-law is probably moving out. Granted, this is just the beginning, and who knows what will happen down the road, but it's a start. I think the gambling addiction excuses him tracking her. Like, if anything, it's almost worse than her cheating, cause she's drowning her entire family in debt. Also, I think the mother-in-law moving out is a good idea. She's clearly a bad influence. My ex-husband and I are having a baby. Posted by PinkDress1. We've been divorced for about a year, and we have 3 kids, ranging from 5 to 10 years old. We've gotten along great since the divorce, better than when we were married. It's almost like we're friends. We can do things with our kids and enjoy being around each other. About 2 months ago, Our youngest unexpectedly ended up having surgery and spent several nights in the hospital. He's fine now. My ex-husband and I stayed together with our son the entire time he was in the hospital. When he was discharged, my ex-husband came back to my house, our former family home, at my son's request. He was just meant to spend a few hours there, help our son get settled, and then go home. However, I guess all the emotions and being together as a family in our formerly shared home got the better of us, and we ended up having sex twice that night. Now, I'm 9 weeks pregnant. I wasn't on birth control. I've intentionally remained single for a while, so I was giving my body a break from birth control. Initially, we were undecided about what to do, but as of last weekend, we made the decision together to have the baby. It feels sort of crazy to me. Definitely not a situation I ever imagined I'd find myself in. I already picture this baby looking just like our other kids. I guess that's why I struggled with the idea of not continuing with the pregnancy, which I know isn't really a valid reason to have a baby. This is probably the last baby I'll ever have. I'm 39, so if I was to meet a man who I trusted enough to want to have a child with and a future with, I'll be well into my 40s by then. I plan to be very picky, and I'm not even at the point where I want to find someone new yet. We're not getting back together, for now. We get along great when we're not married and living in the same house. We feel it'd be irresponsible to all of our children to attempt to get back together right now, just because of this. The chances are better that we'll be able to co-parent this baby successfully if we live separately. However, we are committed to working together to do whatever needs to be done to take care of our baby when he or she gets here. Our kids are doing great right now, and they seem very happy and secure with the current setup of our lives and homes, so we want to stick with this for now. I don't know if I really understand what I'm getting myself into. Our other kids were all born into a marriage and a 2-parent home. I know that sharing custody of a baby will be a lot different than the kids going back and forth between homes. I might be feeling too positive about it, but I think it could work out fine. The new baby will just see it as normal, right? The next thing to worry about will be having to explain this to everyone when we tell them. My family and friends will get over it, but I'm especially concerned with explaining it to our kids. I'm worried our eldest won't take the news well. She knows what sex is and how babies are made. And for everyone concerned about his girlfriend, she's not his girlfriend anymore. My husband almost caused an accident and blamed everyone else, including myself. Posted by Ordinary Human. My husband, 41 male, and I, 32 female, have been together for 9 years. We've recently begun marriage counselling to hopefully improve our communication. But I'm starting to think it's not a communication issue, but an incompatibility issue. A lot of our recent disagreements are related to safe practices with our toddler. He thinks I worry too much about safety. I think he lacks good judgment in regards to safety. Today we were driving with our 2-year-old in the car, and there were 5 vehicles ahead of us. The 2 in front were large tractors with slow-moving vehicle signs on the back of them. My husband was gradually getting more and more irritated because they were going 25 miles in a 45 zone. The cars in front of us weren't passing them. It was a solid double line. I told him that while it's annoying to go this slow, just be patient. Don't pass, as there's too many cars that we need to quickly overtake. His irritation level increased and he slightly crossed over the double line to see if it was safe to pass. I then yelled, "Do not pass!" and this escalated the situation. He told me they, the tractors, are a-holes for not pulling over, and the cars behind them are also a-holes for not passing. They're a-holes for not breaking the law? At this point, I'm practically begging him to relax and please don't pass. It's not worth it. It's a solid double line and we have a baby with us, etc. Basically, trying to rationalize in any way possible. What does he do? He crosses over the double lines, slams on the accelerator, and attempts to pass 5 vehicles in one go. I could see there was oncoming traffic further ahead, but there was also a slight hill, so I couldn't see past that. Suddenly, another vehicle comes over the hill, and my husband had to slam on the brakes and wedge between 2 tractors to avoid a head-on collision. Horns were blaring and everyone was flipping us off. I was so pissed, but I remained quiet while he blamed literally everyone but himself for almost causing an accident. He even blamed me for not trusting his judgment, which in turn caused him to not trust his gut, because if he had, then apparently everything would have worked out. I eventually spoke up and called him a terrible driver, and claimed the reason he was actually upset is because he was embarrassed. He vehemently denied the accusation. I recognised that wasn't a helpful comment to make, and I should have just remained quiet. I'm starting to think this situation can't be improved, and I need to decide if I can accept this behaviour for the rest of my life. I don't even know if this is something that counselling can solve. I feel so unheard and just, overall, really frustrated and hopeless. Too long didn't read. Husband almost caused a car accident with me and our toddler in the car, but isn't taking accountability or recognising that he had poor judgment. Edit. I'm surprised with how many people are agreeing with me that this was reckless. I mean, it was reckless, right? He broke the road rules, nearly killed you and your child. For what? An extra 30 seconds? Yes, he's reckless. Please never get into a car with him again. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.